Now we are starting with chapter number 5. The chapter is mainly about the two organisms, which is earthworm and cockroach. In the previous semester we have learned about the general morphology and the anatomy of certain organisms. In this semester we have also learned about the internal structure of animals, the various muscles and the tissues that they have. Now we are going to start with the individual organism. In this semester you have been given 3, which is earthworm, cockroach and frog. So out of them we are starting with earthworm first of all. So we are starting with the earthworm. First of all, let us introduce earthworm. Earthworm is basically a coelomate animal. It is basically a type of cylindrical, you must have seen earthworm. It is basically a type of cylindrical bodied, thin and long organism which is segmentally divided into various segments. Earthworm is basically the organism which is, the scientific name of earthworm is Ferretima postuma. And in our country, Ferretima postuma is easily available. Commonly, wherever you will see, particularly in the soil area, you can easily get the Ferretima postuma. It is basically, if you have observed the color, it is reddish brown in color. It is a type of terrestrial animal which usually stays in the soil, and it belongs to invertebrate group. The food will be the soil particles. In the daytime particularly, they are staying in the burrows and they consume the soil particle which is found in the land only. Whatever soil particle has the various types of acids or the decayed part of the plants and animals, whatever it has, that will be consumed as food. And the excretory material, what the earthworm excrete out, is called worm castings. That's called worm castings, and earthworm can be traced with the help of this worm castings. So this is the introduction of the earthworm. Now let us see, in this we are going to see entire thing about the earthworm. That is starting with the morphology, then we'll be coming down to anatomy. Anatomy will be covering different systems which could be, which they have given as digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, all of them which could be possible. So let us start with the morphology first. Usually, as I said before, earthworm is a type of cylindrical bodied animal, thin, a bit long, and segmentally the body is divided into various segments. If you remember, earthworm is a true example of Mathametics segmentation, in which body is divided into equal segments from external as well as internal part. In the body of earthworm, usually you will find 100 to 120 segments. Usually the body of earthworm is divided into 100 to 120 segments. Then the body has a dorsal part which is the back side, the one facing to the atmosphere, and a ventral part which is below the side. So how you can distinguish dorsal and the ventral part, that is given to you. First of all, let us see about the dorsal part. The dorsal side of the body could be distinguished by the presence of a dark mid-longitudinal axis, which is present, or you can say it is passing through the midline of the entire dorsal part. And the ventral part of the body could be differentiated by the presence of the genital pores. Male and female genital pores are present on the ventral side of the body. So when you find such pores, then that means it's a ventral part. And when you find a dorsal longitudinal axis passing through the body, that means it's a dorsal part of the body. Let us see the segments. The very first segment of earthworm is called peristomium. Peristomium comprises of 2 parts. It includes mouth as well as prostomium. Now mouth, you must be knowing, it is simply there for gathering the food and all. And the prostomium is an interesting part. It is basically a sensitive organ of earthworm. It is basically the sensitive organ of the earthworm. And over here, particularly in this it is acting as a wedge shape of organ. You must have seen the instrument called wedge. Wedges are usually, for drilling out something, and earthworm does the same. As they are living in the soil only, they need to make way through the soil. So for that purpose, they are using prostomium, which will be the wedge shape of organ that will be drilling out the soil, and it will make the way for the earthworms to pass. So that wise, it's a very important organ for their body. So that's the segment. In the mature earthworm, between 14th to 16th segment, there will be a dark median or a dark gland present. That gland is called as clitellum. After this, through this clitellum, the body has been divided into three parts. The part before clitellum, that is, you can say 1 to 13 segment, that is pre-clitellar. 14 to 16 has the clitellum, so it is clitellar area. And after 16, again no clitellum will be there, that is from 17 to the last segment of the body, that is called post-clitellum. So body has three parts, pre-clitellar, clitellar and post-clitellar. So that are the parts. Then basically there are structures called pores, basically called spermatical pores, or I can say spermatical aperture. Now basically these aperture are there to store the sperms. Spermatical apertures are present in the intersegmental septa on the ventrolateral side of 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8 and 8, 9 segment. In the intersegmental septa, that means between these two segments the septas are there. Over there on the ventrolateral side, a pair of spermatical aperture will be there. So in total there are 4 pairs of spermatical aperture present. Then they also have, as I said, the ventral side of the body could be differentiated by the presence and absence of the genital pores. We know that it is a it's a bisexual animal. That means male and female reproductive organs are there in the same individual. So male genital opening will be there on the ventrolateral. There is a pair present. Pair of male genital opening is there, and it is present on the ventrolateral side of 18th segment. And as it comes to female genital pore, female opening is a single one, it doesn't come in pair, and female opening is usually present on the mid-ventral side of 14th segment. So these two things are there on the ventral side of the body. This is the diagram of earthworm, the morphology part of earthworm. You can see the dorsal and the ventral views, and the mouth, peristomium and the prostomium and all parts. Okay. So apart from this, the entire body of earthworm is also covered by pores, and those pores are said to be nephridiopores. Now basically these nephridiopores are the one which are present in each and every segment of earthworm except first, last and clitellum. Except first, last and clitellum. Except first, last and clitellum, in each and every segment nephridiopores are present. They also have in the intersegmental septa of each segment, they also have setae. They are made up of chitin, and they are the organ used for locomotion of the earthworm. So this is all about the morphology of earthworm. Next is body wall. We also have the diagram of body wall. This is the microscopic view of the body wall of earthworm. Usually the body wall of earthworm, it is divided into 5 layers. The very first layer is cuticle. The layer of cuticle is basically emerging out of epidermis only. The second layer is epidermis itself. Epidermis is basically made up of 2 types of cells. One are the columnar cells, which are called supporting cells, and second are the oblong shape of the gland cells. Gland cells are mainly there for secreting two things. One is albumin and other is mucus. So accordingly it will be albumin cells and the mucus cells, what you can see in the diagram. Basically epidermis also have some of the sensitive cells present. As we know that the earthworm doesn't have any specific sensory organs. Whatever they sense from the external stimulus, that comes from the sensory cells or the sensitive cells which are present in this epidermis layer, and they will be helping to get the to get the sensations from the external stimulus. Then comes the layer of muscle. Two layers of muscles are there. First is the longitudinal muscles, and next is the circular muscle, and the last layer is parietal layer. So these are the 5 layers in the body wall of earthworm. Next is digestive system. A very well developed digestive system is there in earthworm as compared to the other invertebrates. The alimentary canal, which is the main part of the digestive system, it is present from the first segment to the last segment of the body. Let us see how the structure is. This is the structure of the digestive system of earthworm. It has various parts into it. It starts with the mouth, which is there in the first segment, and the mouth opens up into buccal cavity. Now buccal cavity is usually made up of, buccal cavity is attached with the body wall with the help of circular muscles. Buccal cavity is attached to the body wall with the help of circular muscles, and this circular muscles will contract and protrude the buccal cavity outside, and by that buccal cavity will grab the food and will come back into the body. So this is how they work. The next segment is pharynx. Pharynx, as we know that buccal cavity is present from 1 to 3rd segment. Pharynx is present in the 4th segment. It is extended up to the 4th segment. Then the next one is esophagus. Esophagus is basically a narrow tubular structure which is starting from 5th segment, and it will move forward to the 7th segment. From 7th segment it is open. Esophagus is opening into a muscular gizzard which is mainly present in the 8th segment. Gizzard opens up into stomach, which moves from 9th to 14th segment, and gizzard opens into intestine, and intestine, this entire area is basically of intestine. This entire is intestinal area, and that starts from 15th to last segment of the body. So this is the structure of digestive system. Now let us see how they work. Now basically the digestive system, as we know, it starts with the mouth. Mouth is connected to buccal cavity. Buccal cavity will contract, it will be protruded out. As they do not have hands to grab the food, buccal cavity will protrude out, will grab the food and will come back into the body again. Then in the body, the food will further enter into pharynx, which is in the 4th segment. Pharynx will push the food into esophagus, which is from 5 to 7 segment. From there the food will be pushed into gizzard. In the gizzard area, gizzard is made up of thick walls. Walls are internally covered by cuticle, and in the body, particularly in the gizzard, they also have circular muscles. That muscles will contract and it will grind the soil particles as well as the decaying leaves which is present in the soil, just as a grinder. It will work as a grinder. and it will grind all the food which is present in the gizzard. So that is what the gizzard does. After that, the food will be sent to the stomach. In the stomach, specific glands are present which are called calciferous gland. Calciferous gland basically will neutralize humic acid which is present in humus, which is not good for the body. So that will be neutralized by the calciferous gland. Then the food enters into intestine. Intestine is mainly there for the absorption purpose. Particularly in the 26th segment, there is a pair of intestinal cecum present, and they are particularly secreting enzymes for carbohydrate digestion. So that will be done, and particularly as we have seen that the body is divided into preclitellar, clitellar and postclitellar region. Similarly, intestine is divided into intestine is divided into pre-typhlosolar, which is before 26 segments. Then comes typhlosolar, which is 26 to 95 segment, and the last leftover 20 to 25 segments are said to be post-typhlosolar. And particularly the typhlosolar area has a higher area for the absorption, so more absorption could be done from that area. Finally, it will open up into anus, and whatever food has to be excreted will be excreting out through anus. So in this way, by the digestive system of earthworm, the large and the complex organic matter would be digested and will be divided into simple and small inorganic ones, which is what we call as digestive process. So this is all about the digestive system. Next is circulatory system. The circulatory system of earthworm is of closed type, that is, it is having heart, blood vessels and capillaries. Basically, as it is a closed type, blood is usually confined within blood vessels and heart. That is, heart, whatever blood has been purified by it, it will be going into the vessels, and through vessels it will enter into the organ. So it is usually confined within them. So that is about the that is a type of the circulatory system. Unidirectional flow is maintained with the help of the contraction of the blood vessels. There are smaller blood vessels present too, and they are usually supplying blood to the gut, which is gastrovascular cavity, to the body wall of the earthworm, and to nerve cords, which is brain. The blood glands are present. Blood glands are usually present in 4th, 5th and 6th segment of the body. Blood glands are mainly producing two things. One is hemoglobin and second is blood cells. Blood cells are usually of phagocytic type, which will help in the protection of the body, and hemoglobin is usually dissolved in blood plasma. So this is all about the circulatory system. Even the diagram of the system is given to us. This is the dorsal vessel, the one which is present on the dorsal side of the body. Then this is the lateral hearts, which are connecting the dorsal and the ventral vessels. This is the ventral vessel on the ventral part of the body. The lateral esophageal hearts towards the esophagus. This is subneural vessel, which is coming out of the brain. And in the centermost, the greenish and the whitish part, what you can see is the alimentary canal. This is all about the circulatory system. Before starting with the excretory system, they have given a part in the circulatory itself, that respiratory part. Now, as we know, earthworm doesn't have any specific breathing devices, as we have lungs, or some other vertebrates might have gills or trachea, something like that. They don't have any of such things. The exchange of gases, that is O2 and oxygen oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange usually takes place through the moist body surface only, and whatever oxygen is entering into the body, that will get dissolved in the blood stream itself. So that's the respiratory part. Now let us see the excretion. Excretion is taking place by the segmental tubular structure, which are usually present in each segment. They are said to be nephridias basically. There are 3 types of nephridias present in the body of earthworm. The first nephridia is septal nephridia. Now, septal, from the name itself we can say that they are present in the intersegmental septa. So they are present in intersegmental septa of all the segments from 15th one. From 15th segment onwards, in all the segments, this type of septal nephridias are present, and they are usually opening up into intestine. The second type is integumentary nephridia. Integumentary nephridia is basically present in the segments, basically it is attached to the body wall, and that starts from 3rd to all the segments, and again it will combine with the alimentary canal. And the third one is pharyngeal nephridia. Pharyngeal nephridia is basically present in the form of 3-pair tuft, and that is in 4th, 5th and 6th segment, the same segment in which the blood glands of circulatory system are. So that is the pharyngeal nephridia, and they'll open up into alimentary canal. Next would be the structure of all them. The structure of all the 3 nephridias is usually same. They are mainly there to regulate volume and composition of body fluids. Volume and composition of the body fluids will be regulated by all the 3 types of nephridia. They have various pores in their body. They also have nephrostome in the system, and nephrostome is mainly there to collect the waste from the coelom and the other parts and to drain it outside through anus. So this is all about excretory system of earthworm.